Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hood Report podcast. This is our first episode that we are releasing here today on YouTube. We're excited to be here with all of you guys today. We are excited. This podcast is all about sports and diversity. We're getting really deep into a lot of good subjects. So we're really happy to have you guys here with us today. Before we get started, we're going to do a couple quick introductions. I'm your host, Nina. It is good to be here with you guys today. But let's go around and see who all we're talking with today. Let's just go around the room. How about we start with Martin and we'll go from there.
And this is Martin representing Detroit, Las Vegas. Representing Detroit and Las Vegas. We doing this. I got the best of both worlds. Let's get it together. Let's go.
Thank you, Martin. All right, Rodney, how about you go next?
Hello, this is Rodney. I'm from Detroit as well as my brother Martin. I'm here currently living in Arizona, and I'm ready to get it. Let's get it. And hey, we're doing this for the D.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. Quentin, how about you go next?
Hello, everybody. I'm Q. I'm from the D. I'm here to represent the D, give you the Detroit perspective. These two guys, Rodney, Martin, my family, and Leon family too. So it's all good. We're going to get it in. Let's enjoy the show.
Thank you. And Leon, how about you go next? Tweety?
How you doing? My name is Leon. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. 20-year vet, Army vet. So I'm ready to get it. Let's go.
Sweet. All right. And this is the Hood Report. We are happy to be with you guys here tonight, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. We have a pretty good segment for you guys today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start off this podcast talking a little bit about basketball, okay? We got a good talking point for you guys today. We're going to start with our power positions, okay? Who do you think is the best power forward of all time in basketball? We're going to go around the room. Everyone's going to name their top 5, and that's how we're going to get our discussion started. So let's see. Let's start with Tweety. Who do you think is your greatest power forward position? I'm going to go off camera so you guys can have a little bit of the spotlight.
All right, let's get this started. Well, my number 5, it'll put it number 5. We're going to go with the big ticket. That is Kevin Garnett. All right. Kevin Garnett was a beast. Just to let y'all know, I'm going to start off with number 5, Kevin Garnett. And moving on, we're going to go with number 4, Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk, I see y'all shaking your head out there, but number 4 is Dirk Nowitzki. All right. Number 3, the round, mound, rebound machine, Charles Barkley. All right. Can't deny that boy Charles Barkley, a 6'6" giant. All right. We're going to do number 2, the mailman, Mr. Karl Malone. I see you can't deny that one. All right. Then number 1, the all-time great, the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. Now, I want y'all that criticism. Come on and give it to me. Let's go.
All right, I think I'm first up to let you have it, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to give it to you. First and foremost, we got to start at the very back of your list. How KG is number 5, I have no idea. Kevin Garnett, one of the best two-way power forwards of all time. One of the great teammates, if you listen to those around NBA talk, one of the great teammates of all time as well. I think Kevin Garnett is seated a little bit low for your list. And then I'm going to just focus in on one other. I think I have much respect for Dirk Nowitzki. I think Dirk Nowitzki was a great player. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer. But as it relates to being on the top 5 list, I think you have to be better equipped in playing both sides of the ball. And Dirk Nowitzki, from my recollection and from watching a lot of games over the course of the years, the power forwards of the 90s and 2000s that played took turns with Dirk down in the post. So if you're one of the greatest power forwards, top 5 of all time, then people aren't taking turns with you going out to the post and getting layups. So that's for that reason I say Dirk Nowitzki would come off of my top 5. No disrespect, because he's a great player, but not top 5 material.
Okay, Martin, what do you have to say about that?
I just have to agree with what Rodney just said, just about Dirk Nowitzki. The only problem I have, he's like I said, he's a very good player. He put the ball in the basket, very good. But for me, I like players that play both sides of the ball, and you got to be able to defend the ball and defend the basket if you're a power forward. And that's something that he did. And just also, the rumor is about him is after he got that championship, he kind of laid back and he wasn't aggressive like that no more. So I want my player. If I'm putting my top five, you gotta be aggressive and you gotta be able to play defense. And that's one thing that I think that he didn't do. That's it for me.
You know, Dirk Nowitzki is sixth in scoring. He scored on everybody he played with. You know, he's a champ. He the MVP of the league. All right, so I don't see how y'all not have him in your top five. Dirk Nowitzki was a man in Dallas.
Tell me when you recall Dirk getting a stop on defense, and then we can talk.
He didn't need to stop. He didn't need to stop.
Kept his guy in foul trouble.
But see, that's a problem. He got to get a stop. Eventually, you got to get some stops eventually.
How? So, you win the NBA, so, you win the championship. You ain't need to get a stop.
No. And I give him credit for that. And I'm not saying that, no, he's not a really good player. But in my top five, if you don't defend, you got to be able to defend the basketball at the same time. And see, that's a problem I think that we have with on ESPN and everywhere else. All we talk about is who was scoring, this and that. But you got to be able to play both sides of the ball. And that's something that I don't think he did great on the big time level.
Well, Martin, how about you go next with naming your top five?
Top five power forwards. Okay, let's get it going here. I'm going to tell y'all number five. This guy's still playing, but this guy's a beast. We got Giannis, the Greek Freak. Let me tell you about this guy and the reason why I put him in my top five, and he's still currently playing. The reason why I put him in my top five because he's fierce. This guy is strong, and this guy on the biggest stage, he steps up and he get it done. Let me tell you, he won MVP. He brought a championship to a small market in Milwaukee. He was the Finals MVP, and he's a defensive player, so he plays both sides of the ball. But let me tell you on the biggest stage what this guy did in the Finals. And when he brought that championship to Milwaukee. In the final game of this series to close out in game 6, this guy had 50 points and 14 rebounds and 4 assists. This guy steps up. He did all this and brought a championship to a smaller market. I got much respect for this guy. This guy plays hard every night. No doubt about that. That's my number 5. Number 4, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was one of the best power forwards at his size, especially because they say he was 6'6". The rumor is he's only like 6'4" or 6'5", whatever. But this guy, he won MVP. He led the league in rebounds in 87, 86, and he averaged almost 15 rebounds a game. He averaged 14.6 rebounds a game. 3 times in his career, he led the lead in offensive rebounds. 3 times in offensive rebounds. So he was killing the glass at a smaller size. So this guy was a beast. But in a big moment, he didn't win a championship, but he lost to Michael Jordan. So it ain't too much saying something bad with Michael Jordan. But he lost Michael Jordan in the finals, but it wasn't his fault, that's for sure. Because in the finals, he averaged 27, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he did his part. This guy was a beast all the way around. He always stepped up in big moments. So that's why he's number 4 on my list. On number 3, let's go with Karl Malone. Karl Malone, he was a 2-time MVP, 11-time first team NBA team selection. He's 7 in rebounds all time, and he's 12th in steals. So that let me know that he was actually playing on both sides of the ball. But this guy, he always step up. He's a good scorer, and he's a fierce rebounder. So I like him at 3rd on my list. At number 2, let me tell you, it was Kevin Garnett, the big ticket. This guy was probably the number 1 when it comes to being a competitor and being fierce This guy right here, he's number one on my list. I asked for that because he brought that to the game every night. And this what he did. This guy was a 9-time all-time NBA selection. He was a player of the year, so he played both sides of the ball. He's 9th in rebounds all time, 18 in blocks. This guy played both sides of the ball, won a championship. He's one of them guys that you gotta have on your team. And that's why I got him at number 2. But number 1, it ain't even close. This guy, Tim Duncan, big fundamentals. Hey, let me tell y'all something about this guy. 5-time champion, 3-time MVP finals MVP. This guy did everything the right way. And when we talk about some of the greatest players of all time, he should be on that list. He don't get mentioned on this list, but he should be mentioned as one of the greatest players of all time because this guy did it, and he did it the right way. Played both sides of the ball, and you couldn't stop him because his footwork and his scoring ability, and then his on the defensive side of the ball, he is one of the best players of all time. So that's why he is the number 1 power forward by far. And to me, it's easy for him to be number 1.
Okay, so I'll jump in because Martin and I were similar with everything but 2 picks. We had the orders flopped, so I'll hit that. Then we'll get feedback. So the only thing that I had that differed was on my number 3, I had Kevin Garnett. I agree, the big ticket. He's one of those that's just a staple to any franchise and to any team. I think he's the epitome of what you want from a heart perspective and from an offensive and defensive perspective. He's the guy. And then my number 2 was Karl Malone. Karl Malone, just because as the stats Martin ran off, Karl Malone had a very illustrious career, 15-time All-Star, and he was first team for another first team All-Star, first team NBA 11 times. Mm-hmm. So I think just that 36,000 points for his career. So he's in top 5 scorers of all time. I think Karl Malone definitely warranted an opportunity to be in my top 5, so I put him at number 2.
Okay, all right. Let's have a little bit of criticism. Tweety, Quentin, what do you guys think about their little list?
Okay. I didn't know that. Go ahead, Tweety. Go ahead, kick it off.
How y'all have Karl Malone 3rd over Kevin Garnett? Karl Malone is 3rd in. He has 2 MVPs of the league, right? Mm-hmm. Over Kevin Garnett. How you have Kevin Garnett over Karl Malone? Karl Malone was the epitome of the NBA at that time. Played all 82 games, damn near in his whole career in Utah.
Mm-hmm. How many rings does he have?
Oh, so rings count now.
Saying.
Rings count now, right?
Well, you did ask, right? I mean, you did ask. You did ask, right? I mean,
just because Kevin Garnett got 1, you gonna put him over Karl Malone? That's what we doing.
Well, because I actually seen both of them play. I mean, and not taking nothing away from Karl Malone. No. I'm saying I seen both of them play. So but not taking away nothing from Karl Malone because Karl Malone had a great career. But when you talk about doing it on both sides of the ball and win the championship, yes, I will give the edge to Kevin Garnett.
Because he played for the Lakers, right? That's why. that's why we going now.
And I would say when I throw the intangible on, Kevin Garnett was a great leader too. He was a great leader for the franchise. Both his years in Minnesota when he wasn't winning a lot, as well as when he went over to Boston. He was a great leader, and he was a driving force behind them winning the championship.
How we know Karl Malone was it?
When did he get a championship?
Well, Karl Malone didn't win,
exactly. They didn't get no championship. So you run up a bunch of points, and to be honest, my problem with Karl Malone is y'all say he's a great player, which he is, but the two-way part. Are we gonna really say he was a great defensive player? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they took him off. He had to sag off, and the other brother used to play defense for him. So
Antoine Carr.
Well,
there he is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Quentin, I think it's about your time to shine. Then, how about you do your list next?
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Well, the first couple picks is going to be about the heart because I think that they deserve to be in there. So we'll start with our number 5, which is Dennis Rodman. Arguably one of the best defensive players ever. And I don't care who y'all match him up against on y'all list, he's going to shut him down. Y'all got him over Charles Barkley, but he got more accolades than Charles Barkley. He got more rings. He got more rings. Play better defense. Y'all talk about the rebounds. He's definitely got the rebound. The factor is that he can keep the other opponent from scoring is just as good as all these points that y'all say that a two-way player needs. So that's why I have him on my list, number 5. I don't think he should be overlooked. Okay. Another overlooked guy at number 4 will be my Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace, dominant player, run against anybody. You put him up against anybody, one of the skilled guys in the league. They didn't like him, so he didn't get where he needed to go. But he got a chip with the Pistons. And he has some accolades to go with it. So he's going to be my number 4. It could be a little bit of a hard pick, but there it is. All right. My number 3 is going to be Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki, lights out shooter. Wasn't the greatest defensive player at all, but he lights out shooter and he got a chip. He needs to be recognized for that. And number 2, Kevin Garnett. Best. If there was no Tim Duncan, he would be number 1. He would be number 1. As far as you having like you say, Martin, the guy you need to have on your team, the heart and soul, the core of a team, that's your guy. That's your guy. You got to have that. You know what I'm saying? So that was my number 2 pick. But we get to number 1. Number 1 is Tim Duncan. And hands down, big fundamental was always a treat to watch. Y'all got on me about my David Robinson pick because you're basically saying that David Robinson, Rodney was telling me, he carried him. David Robinson never would have got the accolades that he got without Tim Duncan.
True that.
And maybe some of them, but he still was a dominant player, and he really helped Tim Duncan because he took a lot of pressure off of Tim Duncan. So, but Tim Duncan is a special player, and that's my number 1, and that's who I'm gonna go with. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's have it.
Any last comments on this?
You done fucked up, don't you? You done fucked up. Let me tell you why. First and foremost, I'm gonna tell you, you can't put a motherfucker that averages 7 points a game on your top 5. Be it Dennis Rodman averaged 13 rebounds. He was a very influential player. And I love Dennis Rodman. Love him to death. But he averaged 7 points a game. You got to have somebody who's going to have a bit more impact on that side. And he's not one that can transcend eras. Meaning, you take him out of that era and put him into this era where everybody on the floor got to score, he's going to struggle a little bit to fit in. So that's why I say Dennis Rodman, I would not have him on my list. Not top 5. He's top 10, but he's not my top 5. He definitely...
Go ahead. But modern day Draymond.
Yeah, well, but Draymond handles the ball. Draymond plays point guard. Draymond is the point guard for that Golden State team. So Draymond is a lot more diverse in his skill set and a lot more skilled than Dennis Rodman is. Dennis Rodman was what he did greater than anybody else. But you would need him to do more for me. Yeah. Be top 5. I'm gonna make one other comment, and then I'm gonna pass over to these guys. My other comment is, you done fucked up with Rasheed Wallace. And I'm gonna tell you, look, he was the most reluctant superstar to ever play the game, number 1, first and foremost. Secondarily, I would say about Rasheed Wallace is he was a head case. He could never keep himself in the game. He could never stay focused to the point where you said he won 1 championship, where the motherfucker should have won 2 if he'd stayed on Robert Horry, which everybody else knew. Everybody knew Robert Horry was getting the ball. He the only one that's gonna go wandering off somewhere and leave Robert Horry wide open for a 3-pointer win the game. And then my last point with him is, in his last 3 years, let me give you just a couple of stats. Because when I watched him, he would frustrate the hell out of me because he's such a great player. but he frustrated the hell out of me. In his last 3 seasons, he took 1,500 shots. Of those 1,500 shots, and believe this is before the long ball started when everybody was on the long ball craze now. He shot 676 3-pointers. He's a 7-foot guy with skills and low post game out of this world. He shot 676 3-point shots at 31% his last 3 seasons. Give 100%. That wipes him off my list.
Larry Brown got him to go down in the post.
I think that's all we have time for this segment. I think it's about time we switch gears. Okay.
All right.
That was good, though. That was a really good segment, guys. I think it's time we move forward. Obviously, we're still on the topic and the subject of basketball for this podcast. So why don't we move into what our favorite small forward positions are? So I'm sure we have a list for those. How about let's do this a little differently? How about you guys drop your top 5s, no explanations. We're going to leave all of the discussion after you do your top 5, and we'll keep it that way. We want to keep the conversation flowing because we have one more special bonus segment that I want to make sure you guys have time to talk about. So let's see, who do we have first? All right, it says Quentin. It says you are supposed to be our first one to get us started. Let you have the spotlight all on you. No explanations, just drop your 5 and then let everybody discuss.
Alrighty, small forwards. Here we go. We're gonna start with number 5. We're gonna go with Dominique Wilkins. Number 4, Scottie Pippen. Number 3, Kevin Durant. Number 2, Larry Bird. And number 1, LeBron James.
Wow.
Okay, now let's discuss a little bit. Give you guys a couple minutes.
First, Dominique that never won a title. You scratch him off your list.
So you got to win a title to be on the list?
That's what y'all said about. That's what y'all said.
That's what he said. I knew that was coming back.
Okay.
That's what y'all said about Dirk. So let's go. Who else?
I can't argue the rest of this list. I think the rest of this list is solid.
Well, I can't see about the rest of the list.
You got to let it solid. And I would say I don't hate the Nick as much. I think there are other guys that had a slightly better career than Nick, but I was a big Dominique fan. So I could take 6 of one, half a dozen another with leaving Nick on there. I don't have any big objections to Nick was a baller.
So he was.
Nick
Okay.
was a baller. Yep.
If that's the case, Martin, how about you do your list next?
All right, small forwards, the best. I'm gonna say this real quick. All 2-way players. Let's go. Kawhi Leonard, number 5. Yes. Number 4, Scottie Pippen. I don't even like Scottie Pippen like that, but I gotta be real. Scottie Pippen, yes, he is number 4. Kevin Durant. We got Kevin Durant, number 3. Yes, Kevin Durant. Number 2, Larry Bird. Yes, you got to put him what he did in the 80s. I'm gonna leave it alone. And number 1, come on now. Do we even got to say it? Really, LeBron James. It ain't even close. Let's keep it going.
You just can't be number 1 on 4 fucking categories.
That's my whole thing, Martin. That's it. The same thing with what Rodney is saying.
Well, tell me this. The 2 categories I got him in, I didn't have him number 1 to the other one. He was number 5, but this one, I got him number 1. Right now, we should keep our mouth closed because we all know who's number 1 in this category. So bad time to even talk about this right here. Y'all bring him the wrong time right now. Stop.
It ain't nothing to talk about. He number 1.
Okay.
I agree with that.
That's good.
Now, but let me go back to your number 5. That's what I want to. I'm just gonna say about your number 5, and I turn it over
number
to
5.
Get their feedback.
Yes.
What I would tell you is this: Kawhi Leonard, great 2-way player. I think in his career he's had some spots where he's been good, but we're gonna take it back to school, like we're in high school. Yep. And what I'm gonna say is, if you absent too much, you don't get a complete score or a complete grade. In the last 5 years since he joined the Clippers, he's been before the season 440 total games. He played. He missed 199 of those games. And I would say this, and that's just regular season. But now you look at the playoffs, he hasn't completed the playoffs since his first season there. And my last memory of him in the playoffs was he was up 3-1, and him and Paul George didn't do shit and end up losing to Denver Nuggets. So what I would say is when I look at Kawhi Leonard, I think he's definitely top 10, but top 5, he ain't played enough. You can't sit out half the games of the season and then be on any list anywhere.
I understand exactly what you were saying, but tell me anybody on your list that went to two different teams and won a championship in two different teams and won Finals MVP at both teams and stepped up and averaged 30 points and 9 rebounds at a new team that he went to, and he's only there for like 2 years and he won a championship. Name me one player that did that.
Well, let's move on before we even get into that. Let's let Tweety say his list of his top 5.
All right, let's get it. All right, number 5, James Worthy. Number 4, Dr. J, Julius Irving. Number 3, Kevin Durant. Number 2, Larry Bird. And number 1, we all know, is LeBron James.
Oh, let's see. It seems like we have a common trend over here. What do you guys think of that?
First of all, he's among James Worthy. James Worthy was a very good player, and I don't like James Worthy, but everybody know about Tweety is somebody from Lakers gonna be on this podcast.
James Worthy got 3
James Worthy was
championships.
good. Don't get me wrong, he was very good. But top 5, no, he was not. He was not top 5.
He got a great set of hands. He can catch good because he can catch the.
He was better. He was better than Scottie Pippen.
No.
Scottie Pippen. Okay,
what?
Did Scottie Pippen win without Michael Jordan?
Wait. Let me just tell you one.
Win without Michael Jordan.
Let me tell you one thing about Scottie Pippen, and it was something I was going to mention just a minute ago. Do you know in that third run where they was winning for that third championship, and they was in the Eastern Conference Final, and they was down 2-0 to the Knicks, and in Game 3, if they lose this game, they is not going to win. In Game 3, Michael Jordan was 3 for 18 versus the Knicks. You know who won that game? It was Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen scored 29 points, had 9 rebounds, and he shot 10 to 12 in that game. And that's what won in that game. Versus,
what was he when Michael retired?
You know.
What was it when Michael retired?
Well, when Michael retired, they actually wait. Now see, I think you got the game all mixed up. Because when Michael retired in them 2 years, they only with Michael Jordan, they won 57 games. Without him, they won 55 games. And they went and they lost to the Knicks in the second round of the playoffs. So it wasn't that much of a drop off, I'm telling you. Scottie Pippen was a very good player. I'm telling you, he was one of the best two-way players that this game ever seen. I'm not even a Scottie Pippen fan, but I'm just saying.
James Worthy won wherever he went.
Before you guys keep going,
okay, I'm sorry.
Let's let Rodney do his list, and then I'll let you continue.
When you replace Michael Jordan with Randy Brown, then you're probably not going to win the championship next season. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right, that's in Scotty's defense. And I'm not a Scottie Pippen fan either. But let me go ahead and hit my list. I'm going to say number 5, two-way player, instrumental in 6 championships. Scottie Pippen is my number 5, small forward. My number 4, you cannot avoid adding the guy that changed the modern day basketball game prior to this 3-point shit you see now, this thoughtless 3-point shit. You can't change. You can't.
No explanations. No explanations.
Okay, you can't keep on that. Dr. J. Dr. J, my number 4. Number 3, Kevin Durant. Number 2, Larry Bird. Number 1, the King, LeBron James.
All right, now go ahead.
What I'll say real quick is once again, I think my list is very solid. I think it's very fundamental. I think it's the best I've seen amongst the 4 lists we've gone through. I think you have the best player and the best spot.
Scottie Pippen, are you serious?
Let me just tell y'all this. I know everybody is talking about Kawhi, the Kawhi Leonard pick, but all I'm telling you is when you can win a championship and then you go to a different team and win a championship and you're the best offensive player and the best defensive player, I think that deserves something. I understand that he haven't played a lot of games, but when you can go to a different team, because everybody can't do that. I mean, if we look at all our lists, it's only been a couple of players that can go to a different team and still win the championship. And Kawhi Leonard is one of those guys. So I think we need to put respect on that.
Y'all need to put some respect on James Worthy. James Worthy won wherever he went.
James
North
Worthy
Carolina
was what?
and the Lakers. He won in
James
North Carolina.
Worthy was number 3. He was number 3 in the Lakers behind Kareem and Magic, and he
won the MVP. He won the
number 3 in North Carolina
finals. He won the MVP in the finals of that of '87.
James Worthy
was third wheel in North Carolina too. He was a great player, but he ain't top 5.
James Worthy was good.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Put the tape
I think
on.
we're done with this. I think you guys had more than enough to talk about your small forwards. I'm sure you guys could talk way more about it, but let's move on to our bonus segment before we end tonight's podcast. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Martin, you are up. You have tonight's bonus segment. What are you going to talk about for us today? And what are you steaming about?
I'm stewing. Let me tell you what I'm stewing about. And we all know this because we all basketball guys. I mean, watch this stuff. It's about the 3-point shot, and I really think that the 3-point shot in the college game and in the pro game, I really think that it's messing up these teams from actually winning and actually moving forward. I got a couple examples for y'all. First of all, in the college game, let's go back last week when we watched the Michigan State and Maryland game, and Michigan State was up the whole game. Michigan State was up 9 with 5 minutes left, and Maryland, they got back into the game by shooting free throws and being aggressive the whole second half. They shot 15 out of 17 free throws in the second half to get back into the game, to where they actually tied the game up with less than like 15 seconds left. So let's put this in our head. The game is tied. They came back by shooting free throws and being aggressive and getting to the free throw line. The game was tied. They got the ball. They come down, and their point guard, which is Gillespie, which is a very good player, but he made a very bad decision. He came down, and 3 steps behind the 3-point line, he took a 3-point shot with like 10 seconds left. Why would you do that? Why would you do that instead of going to the basket and get back to the game the same way that you got back into the game by being aggressive and shooting free throws? He took a 3-pointer. That's a very dumb shot. He messed up. They missed a shot. Michigan State got the ball, and they got a lucky shot to win the game. But my whole point is, and everybody knows when I'm going with this, you got to be aggressive, especially if the game is tied up. You shouldn't be taking a 3-pointer to try and win the game. They get back in the game by taking the ball to the basket and get to the free throw line. 15 out of 17. That's 88% in the second half. They messed that up. And that's something that happens all the time in the college sport and the pro sport. That's an example in college. Let's move on to the pro game. In this pro game, do we know in the last 6 weeks that the Los Angeles Lakers has the best defense percentage in the league as for getting stops and everything else? You know why that they did that? They after losing AD, their best inside presence on the defensive side of the ball. You know how they did that? By just saying, I'm gonna let y'all shoot a 3 ball. And these dumb NBA teams, the players, I blame the players and the coaches. They letting these teams shoot the 3 ball, and you're sitting back in the paint, and the teams are not taking advantage of their bad defense that they have inside. You know why they're not taking advantage of that? Because the analytics is telling them that throwing inside the post is one of the worst things that you want to do. So that's the reason why the Los Angeles Lakers have the best defense the last 6 weeks, because of the teams is not taking advantage of them having an inside presence on the defense side of the ball. And that goes to bad coaching, dumb players, and we got to take advantage of this. But teams are not doing it, and that just goes to show that they're not looking at how to actually play the game. They're just looking at the analytics to control the game. So to make a long story short, we're gonna make this real quick. They gotta make some changes because if not, these teams they will never win by just concentrating on shooting 3 ball and not taking advantage of the situation. Because by far they should be taking advantage of the lack of defense that the Lakers have going inside. So let's just cut it short. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. These teams and these coaches, they need to listen to this, and they better get it together. Because if not, they'll never win. Go.
Well, really, really, really quickly, does anybody have any feedback on that before we end tonight's podcast?
I would say very quickly, at the same time that teams are throwing up a lot of threes, historical levels, the average 3-point shots per game is 45. They're actually on the other side, 2-pointers, they're shooting 53%, which is a league and a historically high number on the other side. So it stands to reason what Martin said, reduce the threes, shoot more twos, get a balance, and you win games.
You seen Steph Curry last week with 56, so it works.
But the thing is, that's one player and that's one team. See, the problem is teams getting caught up in that. Everybody don't have a Steph Curry. So and I would tell you this: even Steph Curry sometimes, as a great shooter, he gets caught up in the 3-pointer too much. In clutch moments. So my whole point of the segment is that you gotta have control of that because everybody don't shoot the ball real good from the 3-point range. And the one thing I have pulled up and I seen in the NBA, everybody shoots over 55 or 53% from 2-point range, but they don't take advantage of that because everybody want to focus on the 3, which in the whole league is between like 30 and like 38%. So take more tools. Take more tools.
They get tweety. They get surprised. They get mesmerized by Curry scoring 50 points, and now they think everybody should be shooting 3. Everybody go out the next day and practice their 3-point shots.
Everybody's not Steph Curry. Everybody's not Steph Curry.
That's why he threw on my list for shooting guards.
Thank you, Martin, so much for your segment this evening. But I think that's all we have time for today. We don't want to run this over too long. Yes. So at this moment in time, we are going to end tonight's podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening in with the Hood Report. This has been our first ever podcast. So if you like this podcast and you want to see more, please leave us a comment down below. On top of that, write down your favorite positions for basketball. We want to see your forwards and your small forwards. So that would be amazing. And if you had any, pushback you want to write in the comments as well, based off of some of the lists you've heard here today, let us know in the comments as well. Be sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button as well, and we hope to see you in our next podcast segment. Thank you, everybody. Any last goodbyes?
Peace.
That's it. What up, though?
Detroit, baby.
Hope to see y'all soon.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you in our next one.